new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true.
You know?
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her an is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this.
The audience burst into laughter when the punchline finally landed. But Greg Gutfeld didn't just stop at making a joke. He used the moment to point out what he believed was clear hypocrisy. Sunny Host often talks about holding people accountable for historical privilege, focusing on ideas like generational responsibility and systemic injustice. However, she appeared to dismiss her own family's complicated history as something that belongs only in the past. Gutfeld highlighted this contrast. He argued that moments like this show the risks of identity-based politics, especially when public beliefs don't match personal history. According to him, once people look more closely, Host's strong moral tone seemed to weaken. It served as a reminder that conversations about race and history require humility, consistency, and thoughtful reflection.
She's so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one?
According to Greg Gutfeld, activists like Sunny Host often simplify complex issues into identity-based slogans while avoiding uncomfortable details, especially when those details reveal personal contradictions. He argued that the real irony was that Host seemed to minimize the fact that her ancestors were connected to a system she strongly criticizes today. In his view, she ignored this contradiction while dismissing its importance. For Gutfeld, this wasn't just a normal TV discussion. He framed it as an example of how personal responsibility can be overlooked when people focus more on public outrage. Online reactions came quickly. Jokes and memes spread rapidly, including one popular line about reparations: "I'll just write that check to myself." Social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter were filled with opinions. Some people criticized what they saw as a double standard, while others defended Host, arguing that individuals should not be blamed for the actions of their ancestors.
In her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now why I'm so stupid and fat.
This situation sparked a heated debate. Should public figures like Sunny Host be expected to follow the same moral standards they promote to others? Critics said her reaction lacked the self-reflection and growth people would expect from someone with such a large platform. Instead of encouraging thoughtful discussion, her response to her family history led to accusations of hypocrisy. The focus shifted away from deeper conversations about ancestry and responsibility and turned into a debate about her unwillingness to confront her own past. Even Whoopi Goldberg appeared briefly uncertain when it was mentioned that her own family had a similar history. On Gutfeld's show, however, the tone was much sharper. Greg Gutfeld and his co-hosts mixed criticism with humor, even joking that Sunny might need to cancel herself. Supporters argued that this humor exposed contradictions in her position. Meanwhile, Rosie O'Donnell offered a more balanced perspective on the issue.
Guess there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my God.
Shame.
Oh my God.
The horror. History, and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually
Rosie O'Donnell warned against oversimplifying complex topics like race and history. She emphasized that people should be judged by their actions, not by their ancestry. Her comments showed how such revelations can challenge assumptions and encourage difficult but important self-reflection. After Sunny Host's remarks, reactions were clearly divided. Some people saw it as another example of identity politics failing, while others viewed it as a chance to talk about personal accountability. No matter the opinion, the intensity of the debate was obvious. What could have been a moment for growth instead became a controversy due to claims of hypocrisy and refusal to face the past. The situation highlighted an important question. Should we apply the same standards to ourselves that we expect from others? In the end, Sunny's public image may depend on how she responds, whether she chooses to face the issue directly or move forward without addressing it.
Out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah.
At the same time, Sunny Host's personal life became part of another controversy. This time, it involved her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Host, who is facing serious legal issues. The allegations include insurance fraud, illegal payments to lawyers, and involvement in a major RICO case with around 180 defendants. This is not a small or ordinary case. It could have a major impact on the medical field. Dr. Host and others are accused of organizing a scheme where they accepted bribes for unnecessary surgeries, submitted false insurance claims for procedures that may not have even happened, and took advantage of the healthcare system for financial gain. In simple terms, insurance companies may have paid for treatments that were not needed or never performed. If these accusations are proven true, it could become one of the biggest medical scandals in recent years.
That has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
Dr. Host's lawyer, Daniel Thwaite, responded by saying the case is baseless and claimed that the insurance company is using the lawsuit to cover its own financial problems. However, Sunny's connection to the situation made the story even more intense. There are rumors suggesting that she may have known about her husband's alleged actions, which adds more pressure to the situation. Joe Rogan also criticized Sunny Host, accusing her of hypocrisy. He pointed out that she appeared to ignore her husband's alleged behavior while criticizing others for their actions. His comments increased public attention and damaged her reputation further. Whether Sunny chooses to respond directly or stay silent, her reaction will likely shape how people view her in the long run. It shows how fragile public image can be, especially for well-known personalities. Meanwhile, attention has also shifted to Carrie Underwood and her performance at the presidential inauguration.
Superstar Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are. So let's put this in perspective here. What do y'all think?
I personally hope we're moving beyond the era of politics where we want to cancel people's livelihoods because we don't like their politics. And whether it was the Dixie Chicks for criticizing George Bush, didn't agree with it then, and Carrie Underwood, if you have a problem, you register your complaint by not downloading her songs and not going to her shows.
Right.
But I also think from a business standpoint, it's not a bad decision for Carrie Underwood. 75 million people voted for Trump. Artists tend to skew left-leaning, so she's overnight going to become an icon of MAGA and the American right. She's probably going to make a lot of money off of it. So I get why she did it.
Carrie Underwood, known for her strong talent and clean reputation, suddenly found herself at the center of controversy. What should have been a proud moment celebrating her music turned into widespread criticism. Some people even claimed that by agreeing to perform, she was indirectly supporting a convicted criminal. However, her performance itself had nothing to do with politics. The backlash largely came from people mixing their political views with their opinions about her as an artist. As a result, what should have been praise quickly turned into criticism. This situation showed how difficult it can be for public figures to separate their work from public opinion, especially in a highly divided environment where even neutral actions can be misunderstood.